Did you know that Adidas and Puma were started by two brothers who hated each other? This isn't just a business rivalry. It's a story of family betrayal, sibling jealousy, and a feud so intense it literally split a town in two. We're going back to the early 1920s, in the small German town of Herzog. Meet the Dassler brothers, Adolf, or Adi, the quiet, meticulous craftsman, and Rudolf, the older, outgoing salesman. Together, they were the perfect team. They started the Dassler brothers shoe factory in their mom's laundry room. Adi designed the shoes, and Rudolf sold them. Their big break came in 1936 at the Berlin Olympics. In a bold move, Adi snuck into the Olympic Village and convinced American sprinter Jesse Owens to wear his handmade spikes. When Owens won for gold medals, the Dassler brothers became international stars. Orders poured in, and their business boomed. They were on top of the world. But then, World War II happened, and everything changed. The war strained their already tense relationship. Both brothers were members of the Nazi Party, a grim reality of doing business in that era. But their loyalties and actions during the war drove a wedge between them. Rudolf was conscripted, and later believed Adi had deliberately arranged for him to be sent to the front. The breaking point came during an Allied bombing raid. As Adi and his wife climbed into a bomb shelter already occupied by Rudolf and his family, Adi said, "The dirty bastards are back again." He meant the Allied planes, but Rudolf was convinced he meant him and his family. The trust was shattered. After the war, Rudolf was arrested by American forces and accused of being a Gestapo agent. He was certain that his own brother Adi had ratted him out. When Rudolf was later released, the brothers had one final, explosive argument. They decided to split the company, the assets, and the employees. It was a business divorce of epic proportions. In 1948, the split became official. Adi Dassler took his half of the business and combined his nickname Adi with the first three letters of his last name Das to create Adidas. He set up his factory on one side of the Orak River that runs through town. Rudolf, furious, moved to the other side of the river. He initially named his company Ruda, from his name Rudolf, but soon changed it to the more athletic and dynamic Puma. The town of Herzogenaurach was now divided. It became known as the town of bent necks, because people would always look down at your shoes to see which side you were on before deciding to talk to you. Adidas or Puma, you couldn't be both. Local businesses only served one brand's employees. Romances between Adidas and Puma workers were seen as scandalous, like a modern-day Romeo and Juliet. The rivalry was personal, and it was everywhere. This bitter feud fueled a relentless battle for innovation and dominance. It was a sports marketing arms race before sports marketing was even a thing. The 1954 World Cup final was a key battleground. The West German national team was wearing Adidas boots with revolutionary screw-in studs. In the rainy final, against the favored Hungarian team, the German coach had the players switch to longer studs at halftime, giving them better grip on the muddy pitch. West Germany won, and the miracle of Bern became a massive marketing victory for Adidas. Rudolf and Puma were furious, claiming they had developed the screw-in stood first. The rivalry heated up, with both brothers trying to one-up each other by signing the world's best athletes. This was the birth of the modern endorsement deal. They paid athletes to wear their gear, sometimes in secret. This practice got so intense, it was known as the Puma Pact and the Adidas Treaty, where they'd secretly agree not to go after each other's athletes, only to break the rules constantly. One of the most legendary stories of their rivalry involves the king of football himself, Pelé. The 1970 World Cup. Both brothers had agreed not to sign Pelé, as the bidding war would be too expensive. It was a rare moment of ceasefire. But Puma broke the pact. Just before the kickoff of the World Cup final, Puma paid Pelé Ibayarshamayan $0 to famously tie his shoes in the center circle. The cameras zoomed in, and millions of viewers worldwide got a close-up of his Puma King boots. Adi Dassler and Adidas were absolutely livid. This move cemented Puma's place in football history and took the rivalry to a whole new level. It wasn't just about the best shoe anymore. It was about who could capture the biggest moments and the brightest stars. They poached each other's employees, spied on each other's designs, and sued each other constantly. Each success for one brand was seen as a direct failure for the other. The battle continued into the 1970s, with tennis legend Stan Smith. Adidas signed him and created the iconic Stan Smith shoe, which became one of the best-selling sneakers of all time. Not to be outdone, Puma fought back by signing basketball superstar Walt Clyde Frazier for their Puma Clyde sneaker, a shoe that became a cultural icon in the worlds of basketball and hip-hop. This constant competition forced both companies to innovate. Adidas developed the three stripes logo, and Puma created the form strip. They pushed the boundaries of shoe technology, materials, and design. They were locked in a constant struggle for supremacy, and in doing so, they laid the foundation for the entire modern sportswear industry. They weren't just selling shoes, they were selling a lifestyle, an identity, from track and field to the football pitch, from the tennis court to the city streets. The Dassler brothers' feud was being fought on the feet of millions. Even as they grew into global giants, the personal bitterness between Adi and Rudolf never faded. They lived and worked on opposite sides of the same small river, yet they never spoke again. They were buried in the same cemetery in Herzog in Iraq, but their graves are as far apart as possible. The family feud continued with their sons. Adi's son, Horst, and Rudolf's son, Armin, inherited not just the companies, but the rivalry as well. Horst Dassler was a marketing genius who took Adidas to new heights. But he also engaged in shady business practices to undermine Puma. The battle raged on for decades, a legacy of resentment passed down through generations. It's a sad footnote to an incredible story of innovation. Two brothers, whose combined talents could have built an unbeatable empire, instead created two competing dynasties, fueled by personal animosity. So what happened to the companies? The family control eventually ended. In the late 1980s and early 90s, both Adidas and Puma faced financial trouble and were sold off, becoming the publicly traded corporations we know today. The intense, personal rivalry of the Dassler brothers was over, but its legacy is undeniable. Without this bitter feud, would we have the sneaker culture we have today? Would athletes have the multi-million-dollar endorsement deals? This family fallout, born in a small German town, fundamentally shaped the world of sports and fashion.